Good morning, everyone. I'm Megyn Kelly. It's Friday, May 23rd, 2025, and this is your AM update.
When the cops actually came in, he said, "I did this." He said, "Sir, I'm unarmed."
A young couple murdered in a horrific incident of anti-Semitism. Musician Kid Cudi takes the stand in the Sean Diddy Combs criminal trial.
There's something wrong, and we will not stop until we defeat the chronic disease epidemic in America. We're going to get it done.
HHS releases a startling report on the health epidemic plaguing America's children, identifying 4 key drivers of chronic illness. And the Trump administration with a bold move against Harvard University in the ongoing battle to enforce civil rights on campus. All that and more coming up in just a moment on your AM update. It was not supposed to get this bad. You were on top of your bills and then inflation hit. Been there. Groceries, gas, everything shot up, and now prices are up 26% from just a few years ago. 26%. It's not necessarily your fault if you have fallen into debt. Let me share a smarter, faster, far easier way out of debt. It's called Done With Debt, and they are not like other debt relief companies. They don't push loans or bankruptcy on you. Done With Debt has legendary negotiators who go head-to-head with your credit card and loan companies. They have one goal: to drastically reduce or eliminate your debt altogether. They move lightning fast. Most clients see more money in their pocket month 1. But a word to the wise: hurry, because some of their debt erasing strategies are time sensitive. Consider talking to a Done With Debt strategist before you make another bill payment. It's free. Visit donewithdebt.com. That's donewithdebt.com. donewithdebt.com. A horrifying anti-Semitic incident Wednesday night in Washington, D.C. A young couple murdered in what law enforcement believes is a targeted attack. The victims, 30-year-old Yaron Lashinsky and 26-year-old Sarah Milgram, romantic partners and staffers at the Israeli embassy, attending an event at the Capitol Jewish Museum. Around 9 p.m., the suspect, Elias Rodriguez, allegedly walked past 4 individuals, including the couple, then brandished a handgun, shooting at their backs. According to the affidavit, once the victims fell to the ground, the suspect advanced toward them, firing again. As Ms. Milgram attempted to crawl away, quote, he followed behind her and fired again. The suspect then entering the Jewish Museum after a witness said he ditched the gun in some bushes. Here's more of the witness describing the aftermath to Fox 5 News.
He was covered in rain. He was clearly in trauma. He was in shock. And, some of the people at the event brought him water. They sat him down. Are you okay? Were you shot? What happened? And he's like, somebody called the cops, bring the cops in. So about 10 minutes later, when the cops actually came in, he said, "I did this." He said, "Sir, I'm unarmed." He put his hands up. He grabbed a red keffiyeh out of his pocket and started the Free Palestine chants. There's only one solution: Intifada revolution. And he was being dragged out of the building as he was yelling Free Palestine.
Video from the scene showing the alleged killer in cuffs pulled from the building by police.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
As for the victims, Mr. Lashinsky had been planning to propose to Ms. Milgram next week during a trip to meet Lashinsky's family in Jerusalem, according to Israel's ambassador to the U.S. He had purchased the ring. The couple met a year and a half ago while working at the Israeli embassy in Washington. Sarah Milgram, who was Jewish, grew up in Kansas and worked in the public diplomacy department of the embassy. The American Jewish Committee, which hosted the young diplomat's reception where she was killed, describing her as, quote, warm and compassionate, committed to peace building, and passionate about sustainability and people-to-people relations. Her father telling the New York Times Milgram once worked in Israel for an organization connecting young Israelis and Palestinians. Mr. Lashinsky was born in Germany, moving to Israel as a teenager. He worked as a research assistant at the embassy. The Israeli ambassador to Germany, who had once been his professor, calling him, quote, a Christian, a true lover of Israel, served in the IDF and chose to dedicate his life to the state of Israel and the Zionist cause. He embodied the Judeo-Christian values and set an example for young people worldwide. Attorney General Pam Bondi, in a Wednesday night press briefing, promising law enforcement is fully engaged.
We'll be doing everything in our power to keep all citizens safe, especially tonight our Jewish community. Our prayers go out. We have the FBI. All of our federal agencies will work hand in hand with you, Chief, as we have done, and you, Mayor, to do everything we can to keep our citizens safe. We will follow the facts. We will follow the law. And this defendant, if charged, will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
The suspect is facing charges including murder of foreign officials, causing the death of a person through the use of a firearm, discharge of a firearm during a crime of violence, and 2 counts of first-degree murder. The New York Post reporting the suspect was once tied to the Party for Socialism and Liberation, the group confirming the link, but saying the association ended in 2017 and condemning the shooting. The Post also reporting the suspect participated in a 2017 Black Lives Matter protest in Chicago. An apparent manifesto circulating online with the shooter's name attached, the 900-word statement dated 1 day before the attack, in which the author rails about, quote, atrocities committed by Israelis against Palestine. President Trump responding to the attack in a Truth Social post, quote, these horrible D.C. killings based obviously on anti-Semitism must end now. Hatred and radicalism have no place in the USA. Condolences to the families of the victims. So sad that such things as this can happen. God bless you all. Coming up, musician Kid Cudi called to the stand in the Sean Diddy Combs criminal trial, at one point describing the music mogul as a Marvel supervillain. And a new HHS report identifies 4 key drivers of the chronic disease epidemic harming American children. I would like to introduce you to a new brand of Angus beef. You can order it directly from Riverbend Ranch, which is located just a few miles from West Yellowstone, Montana. Riverbend Ranch raises their cattle a lot differently than most ranches. For example, they never use artificial growth hormones or antibiotics. They track the health of every animal from the day it is born and can guarantee that it has been healthy every day of its life. And they handle their animals humanely and with respect. But most important is the quality of the beef. You'll find it as tender and flavorful as the finest restaurants. And that's because they have spent the last 35 years selecting cattle for tenderness and flavor, aging their beef to perfection for 21 days. The result is some of the most tender and flavorful beef you have ever tasted. You cannot buy beef like this in a grocery store, and since it is shipped directly from the ranch to your home, you get a much better price than going through the middlemen. Order directly from riverbendranch.com. Use promo code Megyn to get $20 off your first order. That's riverbendranch.com, code Megyn. And be prepared. Once you taste it, you're going to be coming back for more. Again, that's riverbendranch.com, code Megyn. Musician Kid Cudi, whose real name is Scott Mescudi, called to testify on Wednesday in the Sean Diddy Combs criminal trial. Kid Cudi is a former boyfriend of star witness Cassie Ventura. Last week, Ventura testified to participating in the Diddy freak-offs, extended sex events with sex workers allegedly under Diddy's direction, while she was in a relationship for a time with Kid Cudi. Ventura telling the court she viewed the freak-offs as a job. Ventura admitted to keeping a burner phone in order to keep her relationship with Kid Cudi private from Combs. According to Ventura, Combs discovered her burner phone during a freak-off, alerting him to the relationship with Kid Cudi. Ventura testified that Combs threatened to blow up Kid Cudi's car when he found out. Prosecutors asking Kid Cudi about the car incident on Thursday. The witness telling prosecutors in January of 2012, he got a phone call from his dog watcher saying his car was on fire. Kid Cudi describing the damage saying, quote, it looks like the top of my Porsche was cut open and that's where the Molotov cocktail was put in. After the car fire, Kid Cudi telling prosecutors he contacted Combs, quote, he had been wanting to talk to me, so after the fire, I was like, this is getting out of hand. I need to talk to him. Combs' staff set up a meeting at a private club. Kid Cudi telling prosecutors, quote, Sean Combs was standing there, staring out the window with his hands behind his back, like a Marvel supervillain. The witness telling prosecutors he believed the relationship between Ventura and Combs had ended. Kid Cudi also testifying to asking Combs about his car. Telling the court when he asked about the car, Combs responding, quote, I don't know what you're talking about. On cross-examination, the witness testifying that Ventura told him that Combs was physically abusive, but did not reveal any sexual abuse. The defense attorney suggesting Ventura lived a double life and was playing both Kid Cudi and Combs. Kid Cudi agreed. On redirect, Kid Cudi telling prosecutors he and Ventura broke up in December 2011 because he was concerned for her safety as well as his own. Quote, "I knew Sean Combs was violent." Kid Cudi also telling prosecutors he believed Combs was lying when he told Cudi he did not know what happened to his car. Kid Cudi's testimony is part of the prosecution's effort to establish a broader pattern of violent and coercive behavior, central to their case that Combs was running a criminal enterprise. Combs is charged with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Under racketeering laws, prosecutors must prove Combs committed at least 2 underlying crimes, which can include arson, forced labor, kidnapping, obstruction of justice, and more. Combs pleading not guilty to all charges. If convicted, he'll face life in prison. HHS releasing a new report identifying 4 key drivers of America's childhood chronic disease crisis: poor diet, exposure to environmental chemicals, lack of physical activity and chronic stress, and overmedicalization. The report sounding the alarm, quote, "Today's children are the 6th generation in American history in terms of chronic disease, and these preventable trends continue to worsen each year." President Trump reading out some of the report's alarming findings in a Make America Healthy Again roundtable.
More than 40% of American children now have at least one chronic health condition. Since the 1970s, rates of childhood cancer have soared in many cases by nearly 50%, 50%. Well, in the 1960s, less than 5% of the children were obese. Now over 20% are obese. A few decades ago, 1 in 1, think of this one. This is, to me, the one that gets me every time, and it seems to be getting worse. Just a few decades ago, 1 in 10,000 children had autism. Today, it's 1 in 31. Last time I heard the number is 1 in 34, right? Now it's 1 in 31. There's something wrong, and we will not stop until we defeat the chronic disease epidemic in America. We're going to get it done.
Among the leading culprits of the chronic disease epidemic, ultra-processed foods. The report finding nearly 70% of children's daily calories come from these products, leading to poor nutrition and excessive calorie intake. It also flags growing exposure to harmful chemicals, citing pesticides as a major concern. On glyphosate, a widely used herbicide, the report references studies linking it to reproductive disorders, cancer, liver inflammation, and metabolic damage. Declining physical activity, identifying as another red flag. The report calls children's activity level in the digital age a crisis, noting over 70% of children between 6 and 17 fail to meet federal physical activity guidelines, a trend tied to reduced in-school recess and skyrocketing screen time. And finally, overmedicalization. The report finding 1 in 5 kids estimated to have taken a prescription drug in the past 30 days. The report saying the issue needs to be studied more, but calling it, quote, a concerning trend of overprescribing medications to children, often driven by conflicts of interest in medical research, regulation, and practice. This marks an initial assessment. A full policy strategy aimed at addressing these findings is expected in August. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem on Thursday announcing Harvard University will no longer be permitted to enroll international students, meaning any non-citizen student will be required to transfer to maintain their student visa. The secretary offering to reinstate the university's student and exchange visitor program if the school complies with Homeland Security requests within 72 hours. DHS is requesting records related to any illegal, dangerous, or violent activity or threats made by any foreign students, as well as any video or audio footage of protest activity on or off campus within the past 5 years. Secretary Noem informing the university in a letter, quote, "This action should not surprise you and is the unfortunate result of Harvard's failure to comply with simple reporting requirements. Harvard has been resisting full compliance with the administration's recent request for information about international students, ultimately claiming that only a few students' data would be responsive. DHS now accusing the Ivy League university of failure to comply with simple reporting requirements while, quote, perpetuating an unsafe campus environment that is hostile to Jewish students, promotes pro-Hamas sympathies, and employs racist DEI policies. As a result of the move, Harvard is prohibited from allowing anyone on academic or exchange visas for the 2025-2026 school year. Any students currently enrolled on those visas will have to transfer to another school to maintain their legal status. In the 2024-25 school year, there were about 6,800 international students at Harvard, approximately 27% of Harvard's enrollment. The move is the latest in the Trump administration's effort to crack down on illegal displays of on-campus anti-Semitism and hold universities accountable for failing to enforce federal law. A legal challenge is expected. That'll do it for your AM update. I'm Megyn Kelly. Join me back here for the Megyn Kelly Show, live on SiriusXM Triumph Channel 111 at noon East, on youtube.com/Megyn Kelly, and on all podcast platforms.